Hello? You joking me? Let me tell him. So Moog are sold up to a huge company in music, once again losing independence. But could it be for friggin' good this time? I want to look a little bit at what it potentially means for the company and consumers of the instruments in the future. And I'll also tell you some naughty little gossip later too that I heard from Big Mick talking about them in the Golden Lion. It joins a lot of currently consistent performers like Newmark, Alesis, M-Audio and even A.R.P.S. Now, of those, all are brands that I'd say are big names in the music gear trade, and they're all pretty reliable and reputable brands, but none of them really scream premium to me like Moog do. And maybe with the exception of A.R.P.S. But then even A.R.P.S, with the pretty excellent and well-made MPC range, tend to have lost a bit of character for me over the years, and I think this shows in part with the huge demand for the older, what the friggin' kids call vintage, MPCs. But I have to admit that the things they've done with the Live and the newest One model, they have made them more user-friendly and they are quite exciting. Even better with a Moog ladder filter, eh? We stick one of those bad boys on there. So that begs the question then, what will become of the quality of Moog? Now in the statement, they do mention that they will continue to be made in America, and they do state that the processes and the quality won't change. But if there was any truth in what rich folk read from statements, then our governments would be f***ing class, wouldn't they? And we'd all be able to afford more synths. It does state though, in black and friggin' white, that the global part shortage has had a big impact. Now, I mentioned this in a previous video about another brand, and I had every man and his dog share their thoughts and politics with me, and they even started a smear campaign like I myself was in a political position. That didn't happen, but it was bad. I will just mention that I usually make around 200 knob jokes in my videos, and just because I made a little satirical joke here and there, it don't mean that I want to join your mass debate. All that for a wanking joke, eh? But seriously, discussions, not arguments, please. I think another thing with it being made in the good old USA, which we like to see, but I think that it does sort of leave a bit of a gap for brands like Behringer and the company behind that to make really cheap clones in China. And that in itself has probably had a massive impact with them going after like the flagship Model Ds and making the Moog reissue only last a year when it came out. But then they did start that up again last year just to trick everyone before the cheeky sale. The company was also part owned by their employees, and the sale means that the shares that were held by them have all been bought out, which means they'll all be able to finally afford one of the Model D reissues, unlike us, lucky bastards. It isn't the first time it's been sold though, and it did once again return to independence. It was previously bought out and it changed hands a number of times over the years before acquired by founder Robert Moog in 2002, but then he sadly died in 2005. So I don't think he'll be popping up to save it a second time, sadly. Maybe I'm just too sentimental and I don't like change, that's for sure. But it does make me think, do we lean on gear too much? But then contrary to that, I've heard what premium Moogs do to the low end on tracks, so maybe I'm not over-egging the pudding to say that it would be really detrimental to lose that quality in newer releases. It'd be really detrimental to the music industry. Sounds a bit dramatic, but I think it's fair to say. Will it lead to a surge in price on the used, or what the kids call friggin' vintage market? Should I buy a Mavis? Who named that, by the way? Can we just bring that up? Sounds like everyone's friggin' friendly aunt or something. It might actually mean, though, that we could see some long-awaited, highly anticipated reissues of the Moogafoga pedals. I think that's how you pronounce it, Moogafoga. It's fun to say either way. And, you know, then we can all just be Nils Fram. They might even dabble more into modular, which would be exciting for me. And I can see them leaning more into the highly popular desktop tier systems because, you know, they've been great, haven't they? As for the naughty gossip, by the way, In Music have been in a cheeky scandal before in which Roger Lynn said that they owed him a lot of royalties, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, but he called them something like a right odd bunch of massive So what do you think? Not on the politics though, you boring. And if you want to hear about why synths and YouTube don't mix, then click the video on screen maybe. Right, I've got to go because our lass is on about Transformers Omnibus.